everybody. Welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine, on episode 264. Okay. This Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis situation has me conflicted. Now, for those who may not know, both Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis were in a show together called That 70s Show with another co-worker whose name is Danny Matheson, and he has been found guilty. Yeah, his name is Danny Masterson. He has been found guilty of rape, like full-on rape. Not just like, not to say just, but like, you know, the rape that you would hear about of like, be careful, don't go in the alley at night, you know, don't walk home by yourself at nighttime because you could get raped, because someone could just snatch you up, yada, yada, yada. That is the type of rape that he did. It was a violent rape. It was a very violent rape that he has been accused of, and apparently there is evidence that supports that fact, and that led to him being found guilty. So he has been sentenced to 30 years, 30 years to life, something like that, in prison. So, okay, he, justice prevailed, and, that's good news, right? Yet Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis decided to write a character letter for Danny. A character letter essentially is a letter that is given to the judge to have the judge consider the character of the man who is being prosecuted and just see him as a holistic being, to not be as harsh as you may for his punishment, and to look at him as something other than the criminal that he is and the person who has done these heinous things. So with this character letter, both Ashton and Mila spoke to the good in Danny, the Danny that they knew and the Danny that they have always known, and that they're not necessarily denying the charge against him. They're not speaking about that per se, but they're just simply speaking of the Danny that they know. So they've, of course, received a lot of backlash. And I'm saying, of course, because the times that we're in, and naturally when someone accuses someone else of rape, especially rape that is violent, you are inclined to only speak in support of that said victim. Now, again, when they wrote that letter, apparently the letter is not to denounce the voice of the victim, but inherently it already did, which is unfortunate, right? So just by them writing a character letter for Danny, it just naturally denounces the voice and further allows for him to not be seen as the villain that he is, especially in the eyes of his victim. And I think it's more than one victim. So because of this backlash, both Ashton and Mila have decided to release a video statement on Instagram, and just emphasize that they are not discouraging victims of sexual assault to come out and speak up of the injustice that they experience. They're not necessarily trying to shut their voices down. They were just genuinely speaking for the person that they knew. And I think it's just a hard pill to swallow when the reality is rapists are full beings, right? And what I mean by that is you're not just one thing. Like, we're not just one thing. You know, you may be a bad person to someone. As to your neighbors, you're probably the most generous person they've ever met. And that's just the reality of things. And it's hard to have that conversation when all you want to see or all you have ever seen of that person is just the badness of who they showed you that they could be and that they have been towards you. So it's a hard pill to swallow. I get it. And I think that's why I'm conflicted with it. And I think also because, yeah, you know, they had their own specific relationship with him, and it just feels uncomfortable to probably admit to the fact that, oh wait, he's a horrible person. Like, he's evil and he's disgusting, and how could he have done these horrid things? So let's I want you guys to take a listen and hear what Mila and Ashton decided to say in their response to the backlash that they received. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip. And what's interesting about this video is I thought it was very articulate. And I would say that because they took their time in speaking. They paused. They reflected. You could see them showing distress in their facial expressions. And I think it was very intentional for them to look a bit disheveled. It's clear Mila doesn't have any makeup on. They're dressed in home clothes. It looks like Ashton Kutcher was just like running his hands through his hair. So they both look like they just been relaxing, lounging at home. And they've been probably stressing and thinking about how can we communicate to the public that we do care and support victims. So I think I think that was just very intentional. Maybe it wasn't intentional, but it literally, I think it worked to their favor for them to look the way that they did, because they look kind of a bit of a hot mess, but in a I've been chilling at home type of hot mess aesthetic. So let's listen to this video and talk about that some more.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read. And not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We never wanted to do that. And we're sorry if that is it.
Our heart goes out to every single person who's ever been a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse, or rape.
So what's interesting about the last part of their message is that they said their hearts go out to every victim and any victim who's ever been a victim of sexual assault. And a lot of the backlash, you know, people find anything to get mad at you for. Like, you know, like, I could apologize profusely. I could be intentional with my verbiage. But still there's something wrong with what I said, right? So I think people are just kind of nitpicking. But what they decided to nitpick on in this, I think it was very thought out and understandable apology, because I think you're put in an uncomfortable position. And we'll get on, I've kind of been talking about this anyway, just like throughout this podcast and in recent episodes, how it's a hard pill to swallow when you learn that a loved one of yours is accused of a heinous crime, and you've only known this person as one way, a good way. You've only known the good version of that person. So to then learn that, oh wait, this person is accused of rape? What? This is not the Danny I know, But unfortunately, even saying this is not the Danny I know discredits the victims who have experienced the Danny that you don't know. But why can't we also say, I'm sorry, but this hasn't been my experience of him, so my adjectives to describe him are totally different than yours. And I think both can still be okay, right? I feel like we should live in a world where those two things can coexist or should coexist. That's just my opinion. But so they decided to nitpick on the fact that he is, or both of them said, we stand with all the victims, instead of saying we specifically support these two victims of Danny, And I think that was definitely intentional also, right? You have to be mindful. These people are rich. These people have connections, and these people can be found liable for whatever they said or didn't say, or however they position their words. So if they were to have said, we stand with the specific victims of Danny Masterson, then it would appear as if they agree or they do find him guilty also, right? And it's a tricky line, because even if he is found guilty, I'm not discounting the words and the experiences of the victim, but I think also we have to recognize that the judicial system is not always correct. It does not get at everything right. There are plenty, not just some or a few or one in every 300 convicts. No, there's a lot of victims. There's a lot of victims of the judicial system. Those who have been incarcerated are not always guilty of said crime, and that is not the conspiracy theorist perspective here. That's literally real life. Like, it's not far-fetched to say that. That's my point. So I think we have to just be honest with that, because if we just deny that, then we're just being purposely obtuse here, and it's just silly. So they received a lot of backlash for deciding to not specifically name or say we stand with these specific victims of Danny Masterson. And I just think it's a little, I don't know. It's uncomfortable, and I don't feel like it's fair. I also feel like can we show them grace also? For them to be called now, and by them I'm saying Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, for them to be called rape apologists. Like, people just be making shit up. I've heard of that word. I'm not saying this word was just made up last night, but essentially this word has just been made up last night. And what I mean by that is people are so quick to make things up to paint you in this bad light, instead of having these real conversations, instead of being honest here. Like, shut the fuck up. You think these two are really trying to excuse rape? Do you think these two are really trying to say, oh, I'm just making sure my dog is good. It's good. What are you doing? Get over here. I swear I'm not a bad dog mom. I believe in boundaries. Give me a second, y'all. Get over here. Stop. Oh. Child. Okay. We have to be honest here, okay? And what I mean by that is, like, we can't just act like we don't live in a conflicting society. And so, inside. Sit down. Okay. Let's talk about it. We can't just act like we are. what did I leave off? My God. Anyway, oh yeah, rape. People just be making shit up. All these stupid ass buzzwords just for us to be bullied into following a specific thought, a specific verbiage, and a specific trend. No. Like it's understandable. It's understandable that a friend of someone for 25 years decided to write a character letter on behalf of this person, despite whatever he's accused of. It does not mean that they are in support of rape. Like, what are we talking about? Like, let's have real conversation. Y'all acting so dumb. Okay, I want to play another clip because now people are pulling old footage of Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. And for those who may not know, Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher are married. They are husband and wife, and they have been for quite a while. Yes, we knew Ashton Kutcher used to be married to Demi Moore for quite some time also. They finally divorced, moved on, and he has now been with Mila Kunis ever since. The caveat here is I think they were together before he and Demi Moore got together. Nonetheless, they were on the show, that 70s show together. And on the show, they had, with characters that they played, they were boyfriend and girlfriend. They had kissing scenes, makeout sessions, yada, yada, yada. And in this video that I'm going to play right now, you see an example of Mila Kunis describing her role on the show and how it was just the norm back then. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip if I could find it. Stop. And, nigga, hold on. How come it didn't pop up? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play this clip real quick. Okay, I think I found it. And basically in this clip, you see her describing just the culture back then and how it was the norm for her to do what she did in the role that she played. Okay. So, never mind. I guess I'll find it later, or I'll probably put it in post clip. But nonetheless, let me just describe it. So anyway, so she was in this interview, this talk show. I think it was the Roseanne show. I remember watching it when I was younger, and she talks about how she was the one always having to be basically the kissing pole for the men on the show. And at the time, she was only 14 years old. While Ashton Kutcher and the rest of them, especially Ashton Kutcher, they are much older than her. And she was like, yeah, she has to play like the slut on the show, whatever the joke was. But shares that resurface clip of Ashton Kutcher. Hold on, there's another video because I'm hearing so many conflicting stories of Ashton Kutcher apparently knowing the woman who accused Danny Masterson of rape, and Danny Masterson is actually a Scientologist, and this rape happened many years ago. And when it freshly happened, the victim spoke up about it. She wanted justice for it. And I think she was in Scientology also. And because of this, they did not respect her. They did not try to support victims. Instead, they covered it up, which is unfortunately the norm for many victims, especially in cultish societies such as churches, whether it's a Catholic church, Scientology, a Baptist church, a household. Like that is literally the norm, and it just is what it is. It just is what it is. So, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But the point is, like, it's so normalized for people, especially institutions that are large, that are religious, to cover up the truth of heinous crimes done against vulnerable populations. I don't know why the video doesn't want to pop up on here, but I want to play this other clip and see what happens here. Okay, they're not speaking, so let's move on. Anyway, let's move forward. But yeah, so that's coming up in the headlines, and you also hear of an ex-girlfriend of Ashton Kutcher who was terrifyingly murdered by a serial killer at the time from a few years ago, and he was coined the name the boy next door killer. You know how there's like the Golden State Killer, the Long Island Killer, like, you know, people like to give a name for these serial killers. It's not to be funny about, but the point is you have these names for these killers, and unfortunately a former girlfriend of Ashton Kutcher was a victim of him. Now, I don't know why they're bringing that up, for whatever reason, like as if to say, I don't know, they're trying to accuse Ashton of anything. But anyway, Ashton Kutcher testified during the trial, which led for him to be found guilty. His testimony was one of the leading factors to help him be found guilty for the crime. Because the night of the murder, they were scheduled, they already had set up for them to go out on a date. And when he didn't hear from her, or I think she took too long, according to what's the typical time frame for her, he decided to go to her home. And as he peeked through the windows, he noticed what he thought were wine stains on the floor was instead, unfortunately, her blood. So it was the same night when they were supposed to go out and have dinner, was the same night she got murdered. Literally, like, probably an hour difference, like an hour before it happened, and he found her, or he saw the blood and the police came probably thereafter. Anyway, it's just a terrible story. But that's now coming up in the headlines, right? And I'm just trying to understand for what? Like, what are they trying to say with that connection there? Like, that has nothing to do with Ashton Kutcher. I don't know. I hate that. We go down this rabbit hole of, oh, well, he's actually an evil person, and he's the rape apologist, and look what happened to his ex-girlfriend. I guess people need to stay away from Ashton Kutcher. Like, can we cut it out? And then this whole argument of the age difference between a man and a woman, can we cut it out? There are women who like older men. Period. That doesn't mean we've been groomed, and I'm saying we. I'm using that pronoun on purpose. Catch it. That doesn't mean we like to be groomed, or that we've been groomed. You know, that we've been manipulated, and actually he's been molesting me my whole life, and I just finally decided to give in, and I'm his girlfriend. I'm his wife now. Like, no, that doesn't mean any of that. Like, I think there's just something to, you know, for women who understand what I'm saying, is there's something to men who are older, because there's a level of prestige. And I'm not even talking materialistically, I'm really not, but I'm saying there's a prestige in your essence. There's a prestige in your identity, in your character. You are more established in who you are as a man. And I just find that to be sexy. Like, I think older men, have a je ne sais quoi about them. And, you know, something about like, I like a man to lead. I like for a man to have a mind of his own. I like for a man to be a man, to be in control and to not like act like they know what's going on, but like really know what's going on. And typically that is found in some older, not every older man, obviously, right? This is not a monolithic thing, but typically you would find that more in older men. And I just think that's just a net, like, that's okay. It doesn't mean, you know, I have daddy issues or like, no, I have a great relationship with my dad. Like, it's just so silly. People are just so quick to psychoanalyze things and like, oh, well, 15 years. Yeah, the older the better. I'm sorry, a young man or a man around the same age is not what's up. It's really not. In my experience, in my opinion, sure, again, it's not a monolithic thing. It's just something that I can testify. I'm gonna hit you. Stop it. It's something that I could testify. Please excuse me, y'all. Please excuse me. Okay. You know, I gotta set boundaries. Show 'em who's alpha. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so yeah, shout out to Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. Okay, I need to understand, does anyone else feel the same way as me? Because I'm not trying to act like I'm this bougie person. I'm really not. But there is something going on in the industry right now that is intentionally promoting debauchery amongst Black women. Debauchery promoted by Black women. And it's becoming to... It feels like it's a trope, like we're being laughed at, or it's just very stereotypical on how Black women are being seen and perceived in the entertainment industry. And the leading forces behind this are Sukihana, Sexy Red, and Krayshawn. Hello? There is something going on with this ghetto ass culture. And it's like, it's one thing to be like, you know, I'm real, I'm from the, like when Cardi B first started out, it didn't feel like she was doing things for attention, or it didn't come off disingenuous, right? Like I think with Cardi B, there was something real about her until she finally got, you know, all this surgery, and now she looks like a damn plastic doll. But nonetheless, she was still real. Like there was something about her that was relatable, that was just natural. Like it didn't seem like she was doing too much to just do too much. It just seemed like she was just being herself, you know? And I think that resonated with a lot of people. So, okay, cool. Now, with Sukihana, now for those who may not know Sukihana, I don't know who she is still. I really don't. I've seen pictures of her, videos of her, but I'm not too familiar of her. Apparently, she is a rapper. She has a few songs, but I think her identity is most known for being a whore. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Like, she shows off her body nude, and there's videos of her being sexually performative, and she has children, and there's music videos of her performing in that way, and also being quite, one could argue, inappropriate towards minors in the sake of how to have an explicit video. Go on YouTube. There are videos, there are clips that I've seen people talk about, that I've seen been mentioned, and that I've seen have gone viral, of her twerking on a young boy and her just just doing too much, purposely smacking her lips, purposely being loud and aggressive. And yes, I'm describing another black woman as aggressive. Can we shut the fuck up with that? I was watching Ready to Love, and that really just pissed me off when Janelle was like mad because the word combative was used to describe a black woman. Now, granted, let's do a quick side note here, and then we'll get back to Sukihana's ass. Now, understand this. Jessica has not been combative. She has been not aggressive, I want to say. She just has been a bit cold, a bit rigid, hard to read, standoffish, but combative, aggressive, no. Janelle certainly has been combative. The word combative suits her well. The word aggressive suits her well. Same for Tequila's ass, Tequila, whatever it was from the earlier episodes of this season. And that is applicable through and through. And I don't think her being a black woman, both of them being black women, has anything to do with the fact that you actually are a living proof of this adjective. And I'm just sick of the cop-out of you can't use that word to describe black women. Now, I do understand the connotation that it holds specifically against black women, the negative connotation, and that's simply because of the trope of angry black woman, right? How black women in particular are not allowed in society to feel a full range of their emotions, or else they're being seen as combative and aggressive, and they're not being taken seriously, and it's unfair, while white women can be a Karen and be praised and be encouraged for that behavior. And it's not fair, right? So all that, I get that, but I think we have to put that in a box. Right? We have to take that out of the box when it applies and then be reflective of our own actions. We have to be reflective of, hey, have I been combative? Let's look at the definition of the word, right? Have I been aggressive? Let's look at the definition of the word, because those adjectives do hold true for people in general, for some people, you know what I mean? So regardless of your skin color, it does not hold you exempt from that adjective. That's just my opinion. Okay, let's get back. What were we talking about? Okay, so the VMAs happened recently, and I didn't watch it. I didn't know it was coming on. I forgot. I didn't know there was still an award show. Hello? Okay, but there's still an award show. Nicki Minaj apparently hosted it. Shout out to her. And during the red carpet portion of the show, Sukihana is on her limbs, both hands and feet, on the floor, twerking and crawling on the red carpet. And it's just to the point where, girl, what are we doing? What happened to class? What happened to decorum? Right? So for her to just simply be twerking on the floor at the VMA's red carpet, it is a bad look. It's disturbing. It's embarrassing. And I think at some point, someone has to be like, sis. But again, she is someone who has made a profit off of this. This is her form of currency. So in her mind, she probably sees it as, you know what? I don't care. I'm making money. So Sukihana dances and twerks on the floor at the VMA's red carpet. So, and this is the same critique some white people have gone to. It's not just a black thing. even though I started off as just a black thing, but my point is someone could be listening to this to be like, oh, why how come we don't get on white people? Why you always so hard on black people? Like, no, when Miley Cyrus did this, when she was in her stage of the one who invented the term and the dance move of twerking, you know, how twerking became mainstream, the term and the movement became mainstream because of Miley Cyrus. During that era of Miley Cyrus, with her tongue hanging out, with her kissing on girls, with her wearing barely nothing, she was acting a damn fool also. Like, so it goes, it's an equal critique here, but I'm just focusing on Sukihana because I'm noticing not just Sukihana, but two other black women who are receiving prominent exposure right now, and they all happen to be black. I just feel like it's an intention behind it. I really do. So Sukihana is a veteran in the entertainment world, but she's been 2023's breakout star. Initially, Suki rose to fame as an Instagram star, similar to a host of other women. She gained her national fame from being on, she was on Love and Hip Hop. I've been stopped watching Love and Hip Hop. It's been years since I've tuned in. I used to watch that show religiously until I realized, like, this is, like, nonstop. Because as soon as Love and Hip Hop, and the main one, Love and Hip Hop, was centered in New York. And then it got bigger, and it was Miami. It was, where else? Well, there was like so many other seasons and so many other parts of the franchise, and it just got too much. Like I felt like my energy was getting depleted. Anyway, so she apparently started on Love and Hip Hop. I did not know that. In 2018, she joined the original Love and Hip Hop Miami cast. Through this time period, she has consistently released music. Now it's resonating. As a result, Sukihana is receiving invites to the VMAs. When she arrived, she twerked all over the floor. Sukihana has become one of the biggest stars on the entertainment scene. This is a far cry from her being simply a viral star. From the summer 2018 until the 2021 period, Suki was seen as just that. Okay, so that's how she got her start. That's her origin story. And now she is doing whatever it takes to maintain that fame. But who knows how long this will last. I don't know. She's really talented. I don't know. But she apparently is a musical artist also. She released a song and music video with Sexy Red. Sexy Red is another one. Just purposely ghetto, doing too much. Like, it's not, again, like, there's ghetto because, like, I've genuinely been raised and brought up in an environment that is such, right? And that reflects in my character or my behavior, right? But it's a genuine representation. And then there's ghetto on steroids because I'm trying to gain further attention, whether it's good or bad attention. I'm just trying to gain as much as possible to just increase my level of stardom and my level of fame. That is the ghetto that she's on. Like, it's literally on steroids. And you see how she's purposely wearing these ridiculous outfits. Her hair, her wig, I should say, just two different bright ass tones, tattoos everywhere. This clunky ass set of glasses she got on. I think she has on braces. It's just like, girl, what? The one I'm talking about, I'm out of town, fucking with my, and look, everything's catchy, but here's the thing. When you have these small hats, and who am I talking about small hats? The Jews. When you have them, maybe I should bleep that. But when you have a certain demographic who's in charge, who is in these elitist positions in the entertainment industry, They are in control of your identity. And if they say, hey, look, you're under my thumb, I need you to do this, that, or this. And if you don't do this, that, or this, you won't have your career anymore, and I'll make sure of it. Right? So now you have these puppets literally doing whatever it takes to maintain their level of stardom and fame and notoriety. Like, that is just what's happening here. It's totally a gimmick. It's a whole gimmick. So you have Sexy Red purposely looking like a damn fool, and they have a song together. They're just amplifying the ratchetness, it's just, I don't know, y'all. It's just really disappointing to see where we are in society, where we are in the music industry, where we are in the talent that is being shown to us. Like, where is the talent? Like, child. And then we have Krishan, who has recently given birth on Instagram Live, given birth to a real child. You know, for a time, I thought at least, that she really wasn't pregnant. I thought it was all a conspiracy. And yes, we will see, I will see a little bit of a lump, but I just thought she was forcing it. You know how sometimes us ladies, we would get bloated after eating a full meal or certain types of meals. I just thought it was another example of that. But no, she really was pregnant, and she's the type of pregnant that doesn't get too big, which is a blessing, I think. Anyway, but so she's pregnant. Well, she just gave birth to her first child, and this is a child that she shares with Blueface, who was a rapper. I think he had some time modeling, but he no longer does that. And I think he's trying to rap or be known for his rap, but he's not really making much of himself. And Krishan, her role, she does have a song out, so I think she's a rapper also. But both of them, they are reality stars as well. And they have a show called Crazy in Love on the Zeus Network, in which they are being followed during their time dating and just being in a relationship with each other. They're currently not together anymore. He apparently decided to go back with his previous baby mama, and their relationship is very volatile and toxic, and it's just a hot mess. It's really a hot mess. And it's currency. It's currency because they make money from all of the times that they are allowing us to know their business, their personal business. We know every bit of it because they're on Instagram Live talking about each other, talking dog crap about each other. They're recording everything. They're snapping everything on Instagram. They're making it known that this is what they do for a living. This is how they get paid. This is literally their form of currency. So a part of that, I don't know if she was forced or there was a deal that was made and it was an understanding and a legality for her to be on Instagram Live during her birth. But nonetheless, she gave birth while being on Instagram Live. And I don't even know what to say about that because this has been a norm. But people need to understand this is reality now. Like, every day is a reality show. We are filming ourselves. We are creating videos and content. Many of us are content creators. And that means a plethora of things. That means you are literally giving everyone access to your everyday, to your get ready with me's, to your recipe for the day, to your cooking videos, to your vlogs, to your, come with me to work day. Like, this is the reality that we are living in. This was not the thing 30 years ago, 25 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago. But this has been a reality for quite some time now, and people are making money off of it. So I can't even really give her hate on it. I think what I've been trying to grapple my mind around is accepting this new normal and maybe to stop resisting this any longer. Maybe I need to make a TikTok account, you guys. Maybe. Like, eventually I would like to make some money off of this. But no, let me do a quick shout out because I really appreciate the increase in subscribers that I've been having on my YouTube channel. So shout out to you guys for subscribing. If you have yet to subscribe, take this time right now to do so. Go on YouTube, type in God Built This Podcast, and you'll see my page. Go ahead and hit subscribe and the notification bell so you are notified for whenever I release content. So I'm really excited about that, but that is literally just the times that we're in. We make money off of content that we create and push out on these different platforms. So also a shameless plug to my Patreon page. If you would like more content that I haven't released on mainstream platforms, please consider being a patron. And the link for that is in the show notes. And it's patreon.com/GodBuiltThis. So just check that out if you are interested. I hope you are. So it's just a reality that we're in, you guys. Like, we are making a profit. We are increasing our streams of income from creating content, from having a phone, filming a couple of clips, putting them together, putting some background music and dancing, hitting a choreography, whatever it is, and publishing it online. People are making a living off of this. Like, so many content creators that I watch on YouTube that I have in my rotation, they have, and let's assume everything is true, right? Let's assume that if they really are, and I genuinely believe the ones that I am following. I do understand that there are people who lie and try to make things more of what they are, but for the ones who I do have on my roster, like my rotation, that I would frequently watch their content at a rotation, I think they really are living the lives that they exclaim. So yeah, that's literally the reality that we live in, you guys. So I guess it's about time to embrace it and just think of a next TikTok move. So Colin Kaepernick is talking about he wants to go back in the NBA, in the NFL. If this nigga don't get out of my face, I am sick of him. It's him. It's AOC. Who else is in that list? It's so many people, but them two are the first one that I think about. And I think they're just like so annoying. Like, they try to preach all of this, like him in particular, right? Colin Kaepernick. He's been exclaiming how the NFL is racist, and you know, sure, I was in support of the protest that he didn't want to stand for the flag. Instead of he kneeled, and I hated how the media was so quick to just put so much hate against that because he kneeled and he didn't stand, when interestingly enough, he asked for the advice of those who are veterans, and they said that was the proper thing to do. And I don't know, anyway, so he decided to, what he do? He decided to say that he is interested in returning to the NFL. Now, he hasn't played since 2016. He hasn't played since 2016. I don't know in what world for a former NFL player to be able to return to the league after so long. But nonetheless, it is what it is. So failed. I'm reading an article from American Insider. So these are not my words. Don't hate on me for the aggression in these words. But let me just go ahead and read this. So failed NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick is thinking about a possible return to the National Football League. The New York Jets recently lost Aaron Rodgers, who tore his Achilles on the first night of the season. Kaepernick's agent has confirmed that he's in contact with the Jets. Kaepernick hasn't played since 2016, when he began his promotion of controversial left-wing social protests during the national anthem. Since then, numerous teams have declined to give him a spot on the roster. According to this tweet here, said by an NFL reporter named Jordan Schultz, quote, I just spoke with Colin Kaepernick, who tells me his agent reached out to the Jets about his desire to make an NFL return. Hold on. Oh, gosh, something was in my throat. To make an NFL return. NFL reporter, yeah. So Kaepernick remains on the West Coast working out. There's a video that he released called "We Stay Sharp," but I don't know, child. Who knows if this is true or not? If it is true, I think it's so silly. I think it's silly because you went on this whole campaign talking about the racism in the NFL. And now you're talking about you want to go back to the racism? Like, what? You know what I mean? It'd be one thing if he said, I noticed so many leaps and bounds, and the NFL has shown that they are allies of those who are disenfranchised, particularly Black lives. And because of this, I want to go back to the NFL and be an example for young Black men out there. You know, like, but nothing has changed, you know? Sure, there are, I don't know, there's always been Black performers during the halftime show. Like, you know, there's been a diverse amount of performers throughout the history of halftime shows during the NFL, at the NFL game. So, like, we're saying, like, what, you know, what's the difference? So him wanting to go play now, why? It just means, to me, it just comes off like everything that you did just didn't mean anything. It was just for publicity. It was just for the drug of fame. So, child, God bless. I'm so unimpressed. And it's absolutely cringe-worthy now. It's definitely cringe-worthy. So Kanye West is out here in Italy acting a fool, and we'll just end with this because I don't know, man. I think my heart kind of goes out to the man. I think he is not in his right mind. And he said that, right? He said that he's been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So this is not it's not out of character of someone who is bipolar. It's just also unfortunate that he has not been the same. He has not been stabilized in so long. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, when he first came out, he was somewhat normal. Yes, he had his random outbursts when he said the whole George Bush doesn't care about Black people era, and when he interrupted Taylor Swift. I guess throughout his career, throughout the times that we've been introduced to him and we've seen him, he's always acted out. So I guess it's just kind of increased more throughout the years. But come to think of it, he's always been kind of off-putting. He's always been speaking out inappropriately and just being awkward throughout the times that we've known him. So maybe this is right on character. And I know people will like to say, oh, well, he hasn't been the same since the death of his mother. And maybe the death of his mother definitely impacted him in a way that was more negative than it should have been, but I think his condition of bipolar disorder has always been there. And I just think recently we've been given a name and the official word of, or the reason why he's been acting erratically, but it's always been that, right? So he's been bipolar before he even told us he was. So I just think it's so disturbing, and I hate that he is just not normal. I really do hate that. I hate that he's not being covered properly. I hate that he was in freaking Italy with his pants down getting head by his spiritual wife. It's just, what are we doing, man? Like, just go somewhere and stay there. I do feel sorry for him. I do feel sorry for the woman that he's now married to. And I'm saying it like that because, and I support doing things your own way, right? And so I'm just being funny when I'm saying married to like that, but I'm just making that point because they're not legally married, right? And I don't know, I think his divorce with Kim Kardashian has been finalized. So let's say if it wasn't, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't think he can say that's his wife yet because he's not legally divorced from his current wife, if him and Kim Kardashian are still legally married. But I just think overall, he needs help. And she, his new woman, needs to get out. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for supporting. And I will check in with you all next time. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. If you liked it, leave a review, share, and subscribe. God bless.